I will do a quick introduction. So everybody, this is Ilan. Ilan is the founder and creative director at ILANEL Design Studio. After practicing as an architect overseas, he joined RMIT's Industrial Design Master's Program. In 2010, he established his own design studio to create products and bespoke designs by hand from his Melbourne atelier. Ilan's passion for experiential lighting has resulted in exclusive products that illuminate spaces, including large-scale hospitality buildings and residences all across the world. And with that, Ilan, I would like to hand over to you.
All right, cool. Let me disconnect this for a second. Yep. I usually like to start by taking you outside. Let's do that and show you where we're at. Need to flip this. How do I flip the camera? I'll find it. Yeah, cool. Yeah. This is our little streets, you can see. And the reason that I'm taking you outside is to show you how our building looks like, which is something we did a couple of years ago just to deal with all the tagging of graffiti, as you can see at the back. So that is our new building, our studio. And I'm assuming that some people are here with us. And that's how we go in. Oh, Christian, can you turn on the lights, please? So, guys, believe we said this time it's going to be more of a Q&A, yeah? So feel free to stop me as I go.
All right, yeah.
Cool, yeah. So yeah, just show you around. So basically this is our showroom studio, which is basically the one space we sit and work. And at the back, we've got our workshop where everything is being made. Lily, say hello. And you can see there's many types of projects on the go and many things we are working on at the moment. But I think unlike last time that we done, turn it again. Yep. I think last time there was a presentation which this time wasn't supposed to prepare. It's more of a walkthrough, the studio workshop, which is what you wanted to see, yeah. And if there's something specific that we want to talk about, I can talk about, specifically some of the pieces we're working on or the project we're working on. But I think we can also do it as more of a free Q&A for you guys to just, put your hands up and ask questions if you want to know anything in specific.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great idea because the idea is that we get a sense of how your studio works and, the process from possibly designing to the execution, because I believe you are making all these products in your atelier, right? So these are all handmade products. So it would be fantastic if you can, just take us through, some of the design ideas and how you started sketching them and what led to I know it's a really long process, but
listen, project starts by there's basically two ways. It sometimes starts with our initiation. So we've got an idea and we want to we start to sketch it and work through processes of design and manufacturing, and costing is always crucial for that matter. Or it sometimes comes from a client. So clients wants, which, this is something that we do on a daily basis. We offer a service of, bespoke and one of a kind. So we work with clients to tailor exactly what they're after. The thing is that, again, I can show some examples. So there is this one here, the long one, yeah, which we call the Comet, basically. Yeah. So the interesting thing about it is that it starts as a tube. As you can see here, we're working on a new version. You see the copper here? We are trialing this as a vertical one, unlike I can hold it and do it in the same time. So I'll do it here. Wait a second, don't move. So yeah, that's a version we're working on for a vertical unit, unlike the other one that I showed that is horizontal. So, that's basically just a prototype that, we took a tube and we started to play with it and see how light can work. And you see some perforation that we've done here and how do they work with this whole thing. Those colors that you see here at the moment, they're just basically 3D printed, that we've got a little 3D printer machine here, this little white box, which helps us a lot. We do a lot of things. That's inevitable damage. My fault. It's all right. Happens all the time. And all the glass that you see here, that we work here, is literally around across the road from us. There's the glass blowing studio, and she makes all the glass for us. Maureen, she's a lovely lady. Here, that's a specific one that we're working on. But unlike these ones that are brass, you can see there, the ends, this was specified to be copper. So you probably know Brand's product. Yeah. So that's their stuff. So we're using a lot of their stuff as well. This is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a copper tarnish that we need to tweak. So that's the Comet basically. Now the interesting thing about it is that clients comes to us with specification of what's the length they want and what kind of glass beads. So we call all of these glass beads. So they come either in spheres or in tubes like this one, like the white one here. So, and then basically that's what comprises eventually the end product, which is this one. Yep. Another example is something we're working on at the moment for a few clients is this one. So it's just a matter, we're still waiting for some stuff. We tried for the first time this blue anodized, which I'm completely in love with. This whole, all those parts that you see here becomes one big piece that's going to go over somebody's dining table in the Hamptons in New York. Yeah, so we basically work and ship stuff for all over the world. Eventually, so you can see that it's a pretty big one. These are the base plates that are connected to the ceiling. And then those modules are basically sitting on top of these units, which is, I would call it pure industrial design or pure product design, and which is crucial to us is how do we, at the other side of the planet, how do people install things, yeah? And all the way to pendants like this that we're doing for another client, a local client, and to the details of what kind of globe we're using and how does it look within, and all those details is very important to us, as you can see. So that's a little bit about that. Another interesting thing is what I can't show you, but there's these old parts that we just received yesterday. Going to create something pretty magnificent and massive for a client in Queensland. And it's going to be type of one of those RSL clubs. But anyway, they wanted something to do with these. Where's the camera here? So we have a box full of them, and it's going to be suspended. It's not really a lighting, but it's more of a lighting installation type of thing. But again, this is what clients sometimes want us to do. In terms of scope and materials that we work, so we work all the way from certified timber. So this whole range is basically, it's all wooden, as you can see from the texture of them. Yeah. And we have them in various colors. And so that's the satin lamps. And we also produced it as a pendant. And again, more glass examples here and here. That's probably one of our famous pieces, the Aura one.
Is this the one that was at the NGV?
Yes, it is the one. That's the original version,
Oh,
but the one at the NGV was basically much bigger.
bigger.
And yeah, so that's hands-on interactive type of thing.
Oh, beautiful.
My favorite color,
Yeah.
lovely. So to working with fabric and ribbon, that's a pretty old design, but people still love it, so we're still making it. And all the way to one of my latest iteration and exploration into art, color, and light. That was exhibited in Melbourne Design Week last year, and something I'm working on to produce further. You can see a lot in the room. There's a lot of metal. We're working a lot with aluminium predominantly, and all the way to porcelain, which is up there. That is a Southern porcelain that's made by a ceramic guy from Yarra Valley. So all that. Um, and you can see here up here, that is the first piece ever designed by me. That's how the whole lighting thing started because of that. And in the middle, you can see some blue ones, which is the new stuff we're introducing. To, complex processes as to get this one done. So basically, you can see that it's a bit of a curve, and you ask yourself, how do you do that? So it is spun into in a very complex process, but it is doable. That's another fairly recent piece. It started with this one, which is the round piece here. We call it Supernova, and it's basically facets of aluminium and acrylic, as you can see. And down the track, we introduced the linear version, the one that's vertical, or the flow lamp that is also coming from here. And yeah, that's some of the stuff we have on display, but as you've probably seen on the website, there's much more to do. Some more example of glass that we work with. And we're making a lot of those. These are basically samples that we made specifically for clients, and we keep them for future reference, as you can see. Yeah, all the way to this monster, but at the moment it's just sitting here, but it used to be a wall light in a garden show in Carlton Gardens, yeah, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I think we had it there. And then we travel all over Melbourne in different events and stuff, but it is a light. And that's kind of, fairly quickly and fairly basically what we're all about, yeah? But as you can see, there's quite a lot of things on the go and quite a lot of materials you've worked in. And I'll take questions.
Great. That was wonderful. I think in terms of just looking at the whole process, it looks like a lot happens within this, space, which is your studio.
Within
Um,
this little space, yes.
Absolutely. So I was just wondering, you mentioned that you have somebody who does the glass blowing or the glass for your products across the road. So similarly, there would be a lot of collaborative work for you, I would assume, with all these different materials that you have. So how much of it, I mean, first of all, has COVID affected that at all in any way, or did work just kind of?
It slowed down. It slowed us down, but it didn't. It actually created more work for us. Probably because of I'd imagine the difficulty of bringing stuff from overseas.
Yeah.
Which we all need to learn from and capitalize on. But yeah, we're actually super busy at the moment. Luckily, we are allowed to work because we are construction and
Yeah.
sorry, we support construction, but we are manufacturing. So manufacturing is allowed to work.
Yeah.
But there's most we basically assemble here. We do very basic stuff here. Yeah. A lot of stuff is done out in with various fabricators and in factories out there, all the way from anywhere from Moorabbin to Dandenong to Yarra Valley. Everything comes here, and here it's assembled. We put all the electrical stuff in, make it work, test it, and then pack it and ship it to wherever it is. So, processes like anodizing, powder coating, welding, we don't do in-house. So, but we get all the parts and assemble them.
I see. So just curious, as an industrial designer, if when you hire people, is knowledge of electrical a sort of like a requirement?
No, I can tell you, I don't even know everything. No, but that's why there is specific people that know specific, stuff. It's important to develop, a sense of an understanding, but no, it is not required. Yeah, especially you guys. I see your curriculum changes every year, and it expands beyond, what I thought industrial design to be. You're getting more and more into software and to computer UX, and which is still under industrial design in some way. But it's probably to do with computing of the whole industry. So that's part of it. The supernova that I showed you, that facet, basically, so that we developed, what's the word? It starts with P. Christian? Forgot the word for the supernova. The way we tweak it. Come on. No. It will come to me. The back end that sits on our computer, and we are able to tweak it. Parametric.
Supernova.
Yeah.
Yeah, parametric.
Parametric. Yeah. Wasn't sure. So it's a term that you predominantly see in architecture, parametric design, but it's basically, so we set all the details in, we just tell the software, this is the diameter we want it, that's the height, and then it spits out all the sizes we need to fabricate it, basically. Down to the point that, all the elements that from the 3D printer is also captured within. So you can see here, I'll find it. You see the shadow behind the screws?
Yes.
So that is a 3D printed junction.
Oh,
and that's what enables to assemble this whole complex structure, basically. So if I turn that.
Oh, I see. Beautiful.
So if you look at it, it's just a big spiral. So it's basically made of 3 spirals. So it's made of, the bases are triangles, and it just follows. Yeah. It's exactly the same idea with this one. Nice. Just different type of. Get it?
Yeah.
And you see the junctions here too. That shadow behind the acrylic, that is the 3D printed junction. Yeah. And they basically look. We just got an order for a big one as well. I think the biggest one we made was 1.5 meter diameter. What's in here? No, it's linear, but there's no junctions here. Just to give you an idea on complexity, because you asked me about that. Show you here. So this is a little thing we made to help explain how to assemble this. Every section, every part, every junction, what's coming, what's first, what's next, because it's so complex. Yep, get it?
So
that's the joy, I think, part of it. Yep, I'm listening.
Sorry, I was just asking, so I would assume that there would be a lot of calculations to be done in terms of, the light intensity that is on. And
I don't know if it's to do with lighting specifically, but it's to do, because lighting is an element that comes within, yeah? It is crucial, and it's part of the design process, the way we go about it, but yeah, it's something that we designed together from the beginning. So we know it's going to be a light, and we've designed tables before, but there was still calculations, and so that's part of what we do.
Very interesting.
As designers, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and when it comes to massive installations, there are engineers that's always there to assist when we need. Yeah.
And so I was also wondering another fact that because light, and you said that you assemble everything here and then it goes on, I mean, you ship it to other parts of the world. So it would be very important. I mean, packaging would be a very important aspect of it as well, because you don't want something to reach, the end point and find that it's, either broken.
Yes. Yeah. Listen, the dramas happens from time to time because humans. That's what you do. That's part of it. So everything's fully insured. So anything happens, happened that we had to make it again. But at least it was insured, so it didn't. We were not out of pocket. And yes, yeah, packaging is crucial. But that goes without saying. Doesn't matter what you do everywhere. Even when you ship within Melbourne, you still need to make sure that you package it properly, because couriers can be pretty rough and careless. So yeah, so it's important.
Absolutely.
And they're fairly strict regulations. Depends on the company you work with. So, which is part of it. But yeah, because I did a couple of semesters with you guys, and we created some lights, which is interesting as well. I think, when was the last time? 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Can't remember. 2018? That was 20. That was the last one. 2018. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, one of the guys I taught is now working here.
Oh, and when was it you studied at RMIT? Was it
Me? 2005.
2005? All right.
Long time ago. Yeah. It looks like there's quite a few people, but nobody's.
Yeah, could I request everybody to turn on your cameras and please feel free to ask Ilan any questions?
Oh, hello.
Everything's clear. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to ask one question. Regarding the spheres that were made out of timber, how did you make them? Because I thought they looked amazing.
Wood turning. It is called wood turning.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. There's a wood. It's basically everything that's so wood turning and metal spinning. Yeah. Do you know the difference between them? Anyway, you can look it up. It's pretty cool. I'm just trying to look up for one that is not glued. Not glued. Yeah, but this one's not glued. So technically, I'll show you how they start. So basically there's a lathe. So they take a chunk of timber, put it on the lathe, and it's all turning. Yeah. And he's got a carving tool. Should be a video somewhere, probably on our Instagram. There's a video about it that shows it. So it takes, it basically starts as a square, yeah, and then you put it on the lathe, then it starts to turn, yeah, and he's got different tools that he can brings towards it, and that's what just basically creates a shape, yeah. It's now there's like a CNC machine that does that as well. I know a company in Lilydale that does that. That's got one. But our guy is basically, it's one of those old world, the lost trade type of thing, trades. And yeah, so you can see also the complexity of it inside, the levels, and there's a reason for each one of those grooves. It takes something in every level, yeah, for the assembly. So that's one side, that's the top side, as you can imagine. And the other side is the bottom side, which is open. And you see also, basically, we connect them two together, but with a little gap. In the gap, that there's an acrylic piece that sits between them. Yeah. And it's also mechanically fixed to both of the sides. But before we finish, when he finished with that, then it goes to the painters and use water base. So this is already painted. You can see it's got this lime wash. It's kind of white. Yeah. The natural is more yellow. And so that's the process for these ones. Yeah. And metal spinning also use a lathe, which is worked on a center axis, but they push the chunk of metal that you supply them. So you supply a blank, and they've got molds, steel molds or timber molds, and they push the metal, the blank onto the chuck, whatever it is, and create the shapes. Yeah, so they can create shapes all the way from just simple. Simple domes. That's basically something like that. I'll move this away. I don't have hands for a second. So just like the one you showed you before. So this is spun metal, yeah, and so they've got a chuck in the same shape, and they press this metal against it, and that's how create the shape.
And then
yes, I'm listening.
I was gonna and then was the CNC used to cut out all those shapes?
That's his laser. So first it starts with a laser cut, yeah, and then it goes and then so it starts as a flat piece, yeah, that is laser cut with those patterns, and then it is spun with to that shape, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's another spun piece, very expensive because of the complexity of it, yeah. Those undulations makes it very expensive because it's not as straightforward. So we can imagine the chuck. If the chuck is the same size, how do you get it out? Yeah, because of those undulations. But they've got a special process that they can do that. So it's pretty cool to see that. And it's the type of things that we constantly. I don't like. No, can't do that. So I always push and find ways to make things going and happening. More questions?
Yeah, cool. Thank you for that.
Sure.
I had a question, which is, was it just sort of a happy coincidence that your studio ended up like right across the street from a glass blower that you were working with, or did you like
completely by chance? I had no idea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did you sort of like form that working relationship with?
Well, you say hello to your neighbors, don't you?
You do.
Like that. Simple as that. Yeah, it's just saying hello and chatting and getting to know each other. And what do you do? What do you do? Hey, next door to us there was an artist painter, but she left. Up the road, what do we have to do with us? Nothing. Yeah, but there's few art galleries here. There's a lot of people that work from home or work from like the garage space, or pretty interesting to see that. But yet it was completely by chance. Yeah, I had no idea that she's here. Now we're best friends. Yeah, and she comes to visit every day and bring her dog to play with us. Yeah. So we didn't really know because it's predominantly residential here. So this is pretty amazing to see. There's a glass blowing studio in the middle of this area. There's pretty good videos on and photos on Instagram under our account that you can see. There's actually I photographed her in there's a video showing her working in her studio, so you get an idea of what is to have a furnace on and this whole stuff.
I had a question, Ilan, in terms of the materials. So how often are you able to experiment with different materials, or are you, or is it, I mean, do you prefer as a studio to stick with materials which you've already worked on before?
Never. Always evolve, always try something new, always, yeah, always try and make things harder or more interesting. Challenge. We want to challenge. You know, the day to day, if it was the same thing every day, I can't live this way. No. I need the challenge. I need the constant, you know, interest and exploration. In this city, we can do anything here.
Yeah.
We have everything here. So just a matter of, I remember the first years when I started the business, I spent hours in the car driving around and, you know, going, you know, I used to park in the middle of Moorabbin and then walk factory by factory just to see what they're doing and who they are and said hello and took business cards and yeah. That's how I found the people I'm working with, you know, some of them from the day one that I started the business, still work with them. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And it's important. So just yesterday I was in exactly like, you know, another warehouse behind shops and residential that we went to talk to, got a project that we're doing for a client in Sydney, and it's going to bring this simple. So this is a piece of glass that we, you know, we're looking at to incorporate in one of our lights in some way. You see the texture?
Yeah.
It's a 3D texture, so you can actually feel this. Yeah.
Oh.
Specifically, this is just we got it to show client, but we're going to use something that's not as green, with less iron in the glass, so it will be less green, more translucent, and definitely more sandblasted. But it gives an idea of, you know, the weight, and because we're going to cut them into shapes and use them as tiles or around the chandelier. So yeah. So yeah, this is just literally yesterday for the first time. I've never used that before, anything like it. Yeah, because it's a different process than glass blowing.
Yeah. And how it would come up with the light form would be completely different. So I can imagine. I mean, it's something which is very.
It will be. We will experiment with different types of light sources to make sure that we're getting what we, you know, the look we're after. Yeah. Because it will definitely look different with different light sources. Yeah. Let's see if I can show. Even for myself, I want to see. I haven't even seen it myself. I don't know if you can see me, but no, you cannot see. You cannot see. No, you cannot see. It's too tall. Too much. You see it from here?
Yes. We saw a bit of it. Now we can't.
I know. For some reason, the camera, you see, I don't move, but the camera moves with me. How cool is that? How cool is this, huh? Pretty cool, isn't it?
Technology, that's what they say.
I know. I discovered it by chance a few days ago when I was doing a Zoom with a client from the US. It's moving with me. I didn't even notice. Anyway, so yeah, that's just another example of something that, you know, really in the pipeline now, and we're working with a client to get that done. Favorite. How good is that? It's literally broken. Still holds itself. Pretty cool, huh?
Very interesting.
Stunning.
So,
yeah.
Talking of
and
clients,
with the play of light. Yeah. You go.
I was since you mentioned clients, I was also wondering. So each of your product is a bespoke product, right? I mean, these are exclusive products, and when you would have.
No, the bespoke is basically a one-off. Yeah. Most of what we do, is that. Even in a matter of the fact that, you know, the drop is different or the size is different, or this one, for example, you know, so it is a modular one. Yeah. So you can see that there are seven units at the top. You can count 7 of them. So you can go one, you can buy one, or you can buy 7, you can buy 20 or 40. Yeah. There's one on the website and the project that there's 40 of them in a penthouse somewhere. Yeah. In Miami. Yeah. So, so that's another option. Yeah. This is the same story, but just 3. Yeah. But then you see that how they configured completely different than the way these are configured.
True. Yeah. You change it.
Yeah. So in a way that makes it bespoke because it's a, you know, it's a one-off. for that matter. Yeah. And we basically accommodate most requests from clients. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to sort of say that there would be requests from clients after the product is manufactured, and how often are you able to accommodate the needs of the client after the manufacturing process has already been done? I mean, I'm sure you.
After?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that there are clients who would possibly have received the final end product and then this, maybe I want a slight change. Does that sort of a thing happen at all?
I can maybe in the 11 years that I'm working can count on one hand the times that it happens, because the process is, it's hand by hand, and we go through every details and we make sure that everything's correct. We show progress as we go, and so if there's an issue, we usually pick it up fairly in advance.
I see. Yeah. And I also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're an architect and you worked overseas, right? And that is something that I share in common with you. So before moving to Melbourne, I worked as an architect in India and in the UK. Obviously, now I'm immersed more into academics. So for you also, I imagine that moving from the world of architecture into industrial design would have been not complete shift, but yes, I mean it is a jump in terms of the scale of designing changes and the clientele changes. So was it a massive? I mean, was it challenging for you to manage that shift, or not so much?
It in a way, it just happened naturally, almost, because after you finish studies, you need to do your a couple of years internship, which to be registered, which I did, and during those 2 years, realized that that's probably not what I really want to do. Like, it's still my biggest passion till this day, but the work itself in the office and in front of a computer and drawing lines all day, nah. Plus, wait 3 years until you see something, no patience. So at the same time, I had a couple of friends. One needed a fashion boutique, and another one needed a restaurant, and another one needed a house. So, just started to do those type of things, and then did a few interiors. And when I did interiors, I did lights for one of the interiors, and so that's what I want to do. Yeah. So basically, I pulled the plug on life and stopped everything, and went back to uni.
But would you say your knowledge of architecture comes handy when you're designing your lights?
Of course, yes. Mother of all arts, not for nothing. It says, and it's a type of the profession that basically opens all doors and gives you a lot of understanding. It's not you study 5 years and then 2 years apprenticeship for a reason. Yeah, there's so much responsibility and so much knowledge that you need to carry with you in the path of deciding how people live. Pretty amazing. Yeah. We're product design, industrial design, it's it's a product or it's a process, but it's not to the same scale. Yeah.
All right, I've been asking all the questions. Are there any questions from students?
Yes, I do have
Hello.
some questions. So I kind of noticed there's a bit of space theme going on in your designs. I was just wondering, like, where do you get all those inspirations from?
All walks of life. There's no better answer, honestly. Seriously, there's for every life it's another story, really. Many of them is clients. Clients' requests. Yeah, we need this, but like that. How about to do this? Or our graphic designer clients that inspired me to create a specific light called the flash, which is just looks like a doodle, and it's this one. See that big zigzag?
Yep.
Just give it a push, turn it around. Just no, you can turn it around, but give it a push. See if you can imagine, it's a back-to-back tetraheders. It's like a pyramid, but of 3 sides. It's a tetrahedra. So if you take 2 of them and then start to delete lines, that's what you get. Make sense?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You with me?
Yep.
Because I don't know. I think in 3D. So everything that I do starts with a 3D basically. Whereas the interesting about graphic design is that it's 2D. So it's an interesting switch between the two. So that's basically inspired because I've seen her doodles, and she requested for a special piece in the entry for the house. So that's how it came about. Yeah, it's a play of lines basically.
Yep, it's very cool. So I have.
So yeah, so basically, and all to answer your questions, anything can inspire you to create anything. Yeah, anywhere from just looking at one of the latest works. That should be connected, that thing, but I don't know why not. Give me a sec. That's a bit of it's more to do. It's very artistic, but still incorporate slides. So I'm just turning it on. Give me a second.
Is this backlit, Ilan?
Yes. I think it's this one. For some reason, it doesn't like me. I don't know why. Let me see. Connected. It's supposed to be connected. Yeah, it is connected. Wait. No, it's not. That's why. Give me a sec. Okay, now it's working. So this little one, the little baby, is just a prototype we've done to trial different ways. I can show you, there's a whole lot of them. That's something that I'm really excited about and really want to take forward. So just to show you this whole pack of them, these different types that we printed on different types of acrylic and did different types and of trials, but all of them. So these are all small ones that work with this little one, because eventually the big one is this one. So before going ahead and spending all this money on trials for the big one, we did a little mock-up just to trial it and see how it works for us. And let's see if I can just, and technically it is an interactive light, so, and it lets you controls. Should do that. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, that's that, and yeah. But anyway, so, but again, this is just a prototype, as I said, and on the website there is the complete version of it and how it works, etc. Yeah. So the idea is what I want to do is basically take light to a level of art and combine it with RGB LEDs, which I've been working quite some time with those pieces there up there, and yeah, trialing out something new, and it actually was pretty cool because we literally opened the exhibition at midday. Within 2 hours, it was sold, so it was pretty cool. And that was just a prototype. So now I'm developing a whole range of them. So you asked me about inspiration. So specifically that piece, as you can see, there's a horizon there, which is something very personal to me. That's my place of quiet. So I decided to bring it, towards something that I do. So especially black and white image, graphic, but the idea of horizon is something that I really wanted to incorporate. Yep. Cool.
Yep, cool. Thank you for this.
So yeah, just listen. Everything you come across, every experience in your life, everything you went to the shops and you saw something, you don't even aware of it. It sits somewhere at the back, and one day it will pop when you need it. Yeah. So trust your instincts. Always trust your gut. Always. Yeah. That's the best advice I can give you.
I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Sorry.
So I have one more question.
Yeah.
Regarding like the prototyping and all that. So obviously there's gonna be like kind of breaks all the time. So I'm just wondering, how do you like manage all the waste, and do you keep the materials to use later in the project? Or
It's a very good question, which I'll take you to show you. So, a lot of those boxes just hold trials and errors, and it's just stock. Yeah, there's all the stuff up there, all this top shelf, everything up there is again trials that we did, and but now we decided to just bring them back to life and sell them for cheap for so we teamed up with few companies, and we are basically selling it through their websites here as well. Yeah, all those units, these trials and errors and tons of timber that we try and to work with, and millions of things, but that's the nature of it. Yeah, that's leftovers from another project that we've done, little leaves. But I don't like to throw anything, because one day I'll use it for something, and I know I will. Because we do. Comes a project, comes a client. Hey, we've got that sitting somewhere. Let's use that for that. Yeah. So, I try to avoid throwing things, because somehow and somewhere you'll use them. Interestingly enough, for Melbourne Design Week next year, this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to use a lot of those stuff to recycle and create something new.
yep, that's all from me for the questions.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
No problems.
Hi, I just had another couple of questions. So
Sure.
for your lights, like say the one behind you, as well as the circle light, like what form of lighting do you actually use for that? Is it like LED strips or?
All of the above. Yeah. So the supernova, this one, yeah, that's strip LED. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see if I can do that. If I move, you see the blink? There's like a little blink coming through the panels. Anyway, so there's a strip LED. There's actually two in each one of them. Same with this one. There's a strip LED inside. Yeah. Cool. These ones got just a normal globe inside. You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with these, just normal globes. Yeah. Seen them before. That's also strip LED. And these ones got, see this one, which is the same as this, just a different finish.
Yeah.
They've got a light bulb inside. You can see it blinking in the middle, which is basically. Where am I? Where's the camera? I never know where I am. Yeah, you see the globe inside? Cool. When I lift the tube. And same with this, there's a little globe inside each one of them. Yeah. You can imagine that this can only happen with a strip LED. This one is inside, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, same with this one.
Yeah, cool.
They're all, yeah, if I expose the globe. Just a bipin G4 type of thing.
Yeah, cool.
So it depends on the design, and accordingly we decide what light source.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. And then my second question was just after seeing all your work, it's quite amazing, and I was wondering,
Thank you.
Is there do you do any internships or things along those lines at all? Like, how do you go about that?
Yeah, we do. Yes, we always do. Yeah. Well, you've met both the guys. Lily is still a student. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she's here part-time. Christian was my student, and I plunked him out of class, and he started part-time, and now he's full-time. He's finished his studies. So yeah, definitely, cool. Always. Yeah. Because how would you learn otherwise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Because it's completely different than uni. Yeah. Completely different.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Cool. So probably it's a good time to say goodbye when there's a bit of a silence there.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I had one last question. Sorry, Ilan.
Sure. Yeah.
At the end, since this is a sustainability design course, and you did mention that you try and reuse your products as far as possible, but is there any other focus on in terms of sustainability in your design? I mean, just asking because we, as a tutorial, we are focusing on sustainability.
Yes. I will call you back. Literally just yesterday, I posted on the website under the About section. We've got our blog. So only yesterday we put an article about life cycle of a product. Yeah. So that's a good insight of how we go about it and how we, So technically speaking, everything we design, we're conscious of the fact that it can be disassembled fairly easily and discarded or recycled or reused for each element. So we try and avoid any glues and stuff like that when we don't have to, in order to separate materials. And so you can recycle them separately or reuse them separately. So yeah, it is part of. So it's from the first moment we started to design something. It's in the part of the process. How do we combine things? How do we attach one thing to another? And how do we discard it when it's finished, when it's done? But we prefer to believe that our pieces are for lifetime. Yeah. It's just a matter of changing the globe or the light source or what it is. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So it's definitely part of it. Yeah. So always try and use mechanical fixing and avoid any adhesives or things that you cannot separate easily. Let's say that. So for example, to begin with, these were all there's an acrylic at the top, you see? So these basically we used to glue the acrylic, and you couldn't get rid of it because it's not the same recycling. That's one is aluminium, one is acrylic. They're both recyclable, but because they're glued, you could not separate them easily. Now, basically, you can see if I put my two fingers here, it is threaded, it comes out as a screw. So this is very easily disassembled. And you've got the tube separate. Can discard it because it's just aluminium, and then this is separate. So every bit of it is becoming just completely loose and separated. So it costs us more to make it this way, yeah. But again, longevity and thinking of the end of life of a product, how do you discard it and what do you do with it? Yeah. So that's the reason specifically about that. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that.
No problems.
Yeah, and I think we've reached the hour with that, and it was a stunning tour of your studio. Really enjoyed it, and I think just learning about all the different processes, the techniques, and how you design it was absolutely, we felt like we were in the studio with you. So thank you so much for that.
Cool.
It was
No
wonderful.
problem.
Really
And if you've got any questions or anything, you can always shoot an email. Or yeah, I would have advised to visit, but it's COVID. Cool.
Thank you so much. Would everybody like to turn on your cameras and thank Ilan before we go?
Oh, good. And good luck. See you guys.
Thank you.
No worries. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Bye.